In the cruel world of the NBA, it takes more than skill to win a championship. Sometimes you also need a little bit of luck on your side. And in 2019, the Golden State Warriors, a team who were chasing a legendary three-peat, found that out in the most brutal way possible. This isn't just a tale about a team losing a championship. It's the story of a dynasty that wasn't beaten by a better team, but was torn apart by a string of terrible injuries that felt like a curse. The collapse was so fast and so unlucky, you really have to hear about it to believe it. Before we can break down the tragedy of the 2019 finals, you have to understand just how great this Warriors team was. From 2015 to 2018, the Golden State Warriors weren't just winning, they were a steam train rolling through the entire league. They didn't just play basketball, they changed the way you played the game and the formula for the best way to win. With a revolutionary offensive system built around the unreal shooting of the Splash Brothers in Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. After winning the title in 2015, they followed it up with a record-breaking 73-win season in 2016. Although despite the record-breaking regular season run they had just gone on, things didn't go to plan in the finals. After losing in the finals to LeBron's Cavaliers during their historic record-breaking 73-9 season, the Warriors decided to respond in the most ruthless way imaginable by signing Kevin Durant in the 2016 offseason to a 2-year, $61 million contract, reshaping the league overnight and creating one of the most controversial teams in NBA history, in hopes that this would create one of the most unstoppable teams the league had ever seen, leaving NBA fans and media absolutely furious.
How are you viewing this move from Durant?
Well, I'm viewing it as the weakest move I've ever seen from a superstar. Plain and simple. That's just how I look at it. It's not that he's leaving Oklahoma City. If you're not happy there and you want to move on and you want to grow as a player, there's nothing wrong with that. He's one of the top 3 players in the world. He's a quintessential superstar. He deserves all the credit in the world for the talent that he possesses. But the flip side is this. They were up 3-1 in the Western Conference Finals. Not 1, not 2, but 3 different times. He was 48 minutes removed from getting to the NBA Finals by winning the Western Conference. 3 times he failed, particularly in Game 6. And you depart for the team that beat you when you're on the cusp of getting to the finals yourself or ultimately winning the championship for the franchise that you've been with since you've come into the NBA. I think it's incredibly weak.
Adding a former MVP in his prime to a 73-win team created what many still consider the most talented roster ever assembled. Kevin Durant, Stephen Curry, and Klay Thompson created an offensive powerhouse by themselves. Not to mention that this team was backed up by the defensive genius of Draymond Green and the veteran leadership and bench scoring of Andre Iguodala. And the fans and media weren't wrong. Golden State breezed through their first 2 years, winning back-to-back championships in 2017 and 18, with their shiny new superstar Kevin Durant earning Finals MVP in both years. Coming into the 2018-19 season, the mission was simple: complete the three-peat, something only the NBA's most iconic dynasties have ever done. The Warriors wanted to put themselves in the same conversation as Jordan's Bulls and Kobe's Lakers, and the Warriors looked ready to join them. As if they weren't stacked enough, they also picked up another All-Star in Demarcus Cousins, who was coming back from an Achilles injury but added yet another weapon in what was considered their weakest position. By the Warriors' standards, the 2018-19 regular season was pretty much business as usual. They handled the long 82-game season knowing the real test wouldn't start until the playoffs. They locked up the top seed in the West with a 57-25 record. Their main guys, Curry, Durant, and Thompson, were healthy and the offensive machine was clicking. Sure, there was some drama, like a very public argument between Draymond Green and Kevin Durant, but for a team this good, it felt like background noise that wouldn't amount to anything. When the playoffs finally rolled around, the Warriors weren't weren't just favourites, they felt like a lock to win it all and complete the three-peat. A three-peat seemed like it was already written in the books, but the basketball gods had something else in mind. The playoffs began, and almost immediately so did the nightmares for Golden State's playoff run. In just the second game of the first round against the Los Angeles Clippers, their high-risk, high-reward signing in Demarcus Cousins went down with a non-contact injury. After he'd just come back from an Achilles tear, their new star center was gone not even 2 games into the playoffs. If you want to know more about the tragic story of Demarcus Cousins and how injuries ruined his all-star career, I will link a card above and leave a video link in the description. Anyways, back to the 2019 playoffs. The Warriors got past the Clippers, but the next series against the Houston Rockets was an absolute battle. But of course, something had to go wrong for the Warriors. Late in Game 5, the entire NBA held its breath as Kevin Durant landed awkwardly and pulled up with what was first called a right calf strain. Panic set in for the remainder of the game, as KD was having a ridiculous postseason, averaging over 34 points per game. The Warriors found a way to win that series and then swept the Portland Trail Blazers in the next round, mostly thanks to Steph Curry going nuclear, averaging 36.5 points per game. But the injuries were starting to pile up. On top of the injuries to Kevin Durant and Demarcus Cousins, Andre Iguodala was dealing with a calf injury. The Warriors continued to win, but you could see the cracks forming. They were leaking oil and limping across the finish line. The NBA Finals against the Toronto Raptors was supposed to be their coronation and the final chapter of their historic three-peat that would cement them as one of the best teams in NBA history. Instead, it turned into a horror film for the Warriors and the luckiest thing that could ever happen for the Raptors. After splitting the first 2 games, the series was tied at 1 game apiece. But the Game 2 win came at a huge cost when Klay Thompson injured his hamstring, forcing him to miss Game 3. With KD already out, the Warriors were now missing 2 of their main stars. With the next game back on their home floor, Steph Curry put on a heroic performance, dropping 47 points, but somehow it still wasn't enough to earn them the Game 3 win, meaning the Warriors were now down 2 games to 1. Despite there being some hope for the Warriors with Klay Thompson and Demarcus Cousins returning for Game 4, the next game wasn't any better, with the Warriors still missing one of their main scorers in Kevin Durant, meaning there just wasn't enough firepower to stop a hungry Kawhi Leonard who was doing all he could to bring a title to Toronto, with him going ballistic for 36 points and 12 rebounds while leading the Raptors to the win in Game 4. With Golden State now down 3 games to 1, things looked hopeless. But heading into Game 5, they finally had something going in their favour. Kevin Durant was finally back. For 12 minutes, he looked like his old self, scoring 11 quick points and hitting 3 straight threes. The Warriors were looking unstoppable again. And then, something happened again. As Durant made a move against Serge Ibaka, he planted his right foot and just collapsed. The pop could have been heard all around the arena. It was his Achilles tendon, it was gone, and it was clear that he wouldn't be returning for the rest of the series. But luckily for Golden State, fueled by pure pain and heartbreak, the Warriors somehow were still able to hold on and win the game by a single point, keeping the series alive. The series went back to Oakland for Game 6 for the final game that would ever be played at Oracle Arena, and what would be the final game in this final series. But luckily for the Warriors, true to his legendary nickname of Game 6 Klay, Klay Thompson had shown up to keep the series alive. But just like every other game in the series, the Warriors couldn't have one good game without something going wrong. So, with just over 2 minutes left in the third quarter, Klay went up for a dunk, got fouled by Danny Green, and landed awkwardly. His left knee buckled and he went down screaming immediately. The diagnosis was a torn ACL. In a display of unbelievable toughness and resilience, Klay actually limped back onto the court to shoot his free throws. He ended up making them both, but his night and his season were over. over. In one bad landing, during one of the best offensive nights of his career, his season was done. Not only did this ACL tear end his 2019 season, but it ended the prime of one of the most dominant shooters of all time. Those images are burned into the memory of every Golden State fan. Durant grabbing his Achilles, Klay being helped off the court, two superstars, two career-changing injuries in back-to-back finals games. Can you think of any other team that's had worse luck on the biggest stage? Let me know in the comments, and if you like these stories from throughout NBA history, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And so for the rest of the game, Steph Curry was left all alone. The heart of the dynasty was now the last man standing. In the end, the Warriors lost that final game by only 4 points, and the Raptors celebrated their championship run on Golden State's home court during Oracle Arena's final use. Look, it's not like there's no other team that has been hit hard by injuries during playoff runs, but has any other team gone through what happened to the 2019 Warriors? Losing two of your best players to career-altering injuries during the NBA Finals is just unheard of. First, Durant, their leading scorer, who is having one of his best final series he's ever had, going down with a ruptured Achilles. Then Thompson, their toughest competitor and the right-hand man to the team's core, going down with a torn ACL. And that's not even counting their earlier injuries to Cousins, Looney, and Iguodala. This wasn't just a run of bad luck, it was something else. Demarcus Cousins later said the feeling on the bench was like, who's gonna die next? It was a dark joke, but it perfectly captured how surreal and horrifying it was for the players on that team. They were a championship team turned into a walking hospital ward. Draymond Green even put up a monster triple-double in that final game, scoring 11 points, grabbing 19 rebounds, and dishing out 13 assists. The three-peat dream didn't die with a fight. It died with a series of unlucky injuries on the floor of Oracle Arena during the arena's final use. The 2019 Golden State Warriors weren't outplayed. They were taken apart piece by piece, and that's why they are, without a doubt, the unluckiest team in the history of the NBA. But what do you think? Do you think the 2019 Golden State Warriors are the unluckiest team in NBA history? Or is there another team that is more unlucky than them? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more NBA breakdowns. Don't forget to watch that Demarcus Cousins video. Thanks for watching and goodbye.